So here we are again.
Yeah,
Um, so thanks again for taking some of the time, especially since you're at work right now.
yeah, no worries, no worries. I have a lot of freedom here. I can create what I want. So
Oh,
only when
perfect.
there is a necessity and I need to go, but it's holiday time now, so it's good. But if there is security, then you see me doing my thing, and then I come back.
Hopefully,
So
we
it's
can get
good.
some CCTV footage of you
Yeah,
doing
I
some
will
work.
get the camera with me. Yeah,
It's like
no,
it's like wait 1 minute. Turn the camera. Ice, ice,
yeah, yeah,
ice.
yeah. I actually have that.
Oh man, this is great. Um, so the last time we chatted, we were talking about knife violence.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure if you've seen the news recently or the news in Japan recently, but there have been a lot of cases of knife and fire violence.
Ah, so there's a
Um,
change in mentality.
yeah, there's been a change in mentality. So I'm gonna give you a couple of things that has happened so far in terms of the levels of violence that people have been perpetrating on others in Japan. And surprisingly, well, at least not surprising to me, the perpetrators have all been Japanese,
Oh, really? Yeah.
not foreigners like most of the community here would believe.
Hmm.
Um,
But how
some,
is it
I'm sorry,
on the
continue.
side on a side effect? How is it with the COVID rules? There is there a lot of suppression going on?
When you say suppression, what do you mean?
Like, is there a lot of restriction? They get control all the time because what I know from Asian culture is um, they're great people, by the way, but they have a two-side emotion: very kind or not very kind. There's nothing in the middle, like you see in the Western community. Let's say it like this. So if you push them enough, at one point it's done, and
Mm,
then the extreme violence starts.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of shit going on under the surface. They're really polite. They're really, but until they're not polite anymore, and then something
Mhm.
snaps. It's almost like that.
Yeah, I
But
think
you know it better. Right? You know it better than me. You live there. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
no, that is the case, and it's a thing like there is there is this like part of the culture where you're supposed to conform, and so any individuality that you may have, you push that to the wayside
Yeah.
just to make
Yeah.
sure that the group is operating optimally, even though in reality it isn't.
No, exactly.
And so yeah, there is instances where they're incredibly nice, and they hold a lot of the like the negative feelings they have or the things that they really want to say and do. They don't because socially is not acceptable.
No, I understand that. Yeah. And then when it's done, it's done. Switch goes off, and that's what I mean. Maybe there's a lot of things going on at the moment because of what's the reason, and then you see this extreme outburst of violence,
Yeah,
because of that.
yeah,
So
and
I don't
it,
know how it is today, especially here because of COVID.
mm,
Even me, I'm at the point that I wanna,
yeah,
put the switch.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
doing it but
But
yet.
you have that you have the monster in control.
Still, but don't give me another lockdown.
She's like, you know what? Go ahead, boy. Do what you want.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating because if you take vision away, and like
Mhm,
yeah, you will create depression, and people, they hold
yeah.
it in, and they don't, nobody is listening to them. The government is not listening. They only force upon rules to you that don't make sense anymore at one point. I understand if the hospitals are too busy,
Hmm.
and then people still understand it. But what's happening now, especially in the Netherlands, is there's restriction going on, lockdowns going on, but the hospitals are almost empty.
Yeah.
And now you ask yourself the question, whoa, when it's time to stand up, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, if you don't have perspective, then, yeah, I don't know. It builds up for 2 years now. So
Yeah. I feel like it has been building up, especially in the culture where it's like abide by the rules,
yeah, right.
listen, and all this other things, right? It has been building up, and it's. I think I brought it up before when we talked. I think it was last year. I said it is a powder keg waiting to explode.
Yeah, 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 exactly that. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
And it's happening all over the world, if you ask me at the moment.
mhm,
Everybody is holding in, and yeah, hopefully this will come to an end on a good way. You know what I mean?
hopefully, right?
And otherwise,
So
I'm prepared. So fuck it.
you're
But
prepared.
yeah,
He said, anyway, I'm ready. I'm not sure you guys are
I'm
ready.
ready. I was born ready. But
Oh
what is
man.
happening? Sorry, with the is there a lot of knife attacks? What's happening?
All right, so there's a lot of knife text. So, for example, like I'm gonna go through the list that I created. Let me do the knife attacks first. Um, so I think it was the first one. It happened the last year or possibly the year before last. I'm pretty sure it was last year, where there was a man. He had an interaction with somebody in a store or something. I don't remember. I don't remember the news story very well. I'm paraphrasing here. And it was with an interaction he had with a woman. Now he probably had negative experiences in terms of his like romantic relationships with females in his past, and so that probably also is kind of what led him to do what he did. So after this situation that he had with this woman in a store or restaurant, wherever it was, um, he went on to stab a number of women or women that were in groups or couples that looked happy. He felt that that was, I'm not sure what he felt, but he attacked or he targeted couples that looked happy. And he stabbed one woman in the back and then slashed her, no, in the chest and slashed her back multiple times.
Mm,
So that was the
yeah.
first attack.
Hmm. Can I talk with that? Otherwise, I'm. What's happening the majority of times, because you have two subjects that can inflict violence in my book, to make it really simple. You
Mm-hmm.
have the sociopath,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the good guy having a bad day.
Mm.
The majority of time, the good guy having a bad day, you can talk him down.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself the question: is it the good guy having the last drop and now he snaps, or is it
Mm-hmm.
the sociopath with a sick, twisted mind that has it already in his brain? You know, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in an extent, we Urban Combatives Netherlands is teaching our students of self protection to become a sociopath in a way like, if you have to become physical, and do it in a clinical way. Do not think about him, dehumanize him, and just eliminate the threat. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to teach my student to become a sociopath, but there's a lot of types of sociopaths. For example, the financial sociopath pushes one button, has 1% more revenue, and now the whole family is bankrupt. If you look at a player who's breaking women hearts, he does it for his own satisfaction. He breaks an heart and goes to the next girl and goes to the next girl. That's also a sociopath. They lack empathy. I want to be the sociopath. I don't want to be, but if I have to be, and I need to deal with violence, I want to be the sociopath that can switch off your computer and doesn't have a problem with that. For example, I was a couple of times in the police jail after a fight, and then there was 2 times on the potential risk that somebody didn't wake up. So at one time against me against 5, and one time me against 7. Then you have to ask yourself, how do you end up there? But one time in my private life and one time work related, also in my private time. But what I found out at the moment is I was waiting in jail, always with an injury. One time I broke my hand, and the other time I ripped off my bicep off the bone. But I said to myself, if that individual or individuals, if they die tonight, I would think it's terrible for their parents and for everybody. But I still do not regret it in a way, because they made me do it. It was not me enjoying that. And it was just one hit or 2 hits, and then it can already be enough. So I could totally live with myself if this really happened. Thank God they woke up. Thank God they released me from the police cell, etc. And it ended quite positive. But that said, it showed me that I have the capacity to become a sociopath. Otherwise, I could not inflict pain to another human being to protect myself. And if that means I need to accept the consequences, I totally do that. So yes, I am the sociopath. I do not have a problem afterwards also with that, because you made me do it. It's literally, and I truly believe it, that I could not avoid and
Mm-hmm.
escape and de-escalate. So ask yourself the question, why, or what kind of subject was this? Was this the sociopath or the one that had enough?
Ah.
And now you can ask yourself the question, why did he do it? Right? Then you
Mhm.
have to think about Colonel John Jeff Cooper. He did the Cooper color code. I don't know if you
Mhm.
know this is the awareness model
Mhm.
for awareness. And he had this black box principle, and I think it's awesome. Just imagine a black box.
Mhm.
There's no cord, black box, one switch with an on and off switch. That's it. If you plug something in that black box, if you put the switch on, it gives power.
Mhm.
Yes. Now you can ask yourself all the questions, but how does it work? There is no cord on it. It's just a black box with an on-off switch. How does it give me power? Is it a little hamster in the wheel? Is it because of the sun? Is it because of the wind? Who gives a fuck? If you switch on the switch, it
It
gives
gives you
power.
power.
If you use the same analogy on that guy stabbing random people, you can ask yourself now, why is he stabbing them? Is it because he had a bad childhood? Is it because he forgot his medication? Is it because they bullied him when he was a child? Who gives a fuck? End him. Stop him from doing it. That's an old school way of thinking that
Mm.
nowadays with a lot of people that are so not used to violence and so intelligent that they start to overthink, but why is it happening? Who gives a fuck? To end the threat. You need that old
Mhm.
school thinking if you want to deal with a situation like that. But it's a horrible situation.
Yeah.
A lot of questions come in my mind. It's horrible. Yeah.
Okay. So just to kind of continue on to that one. So like
Sorry.
after no. I like the how you kind of went deeper into the psychology of it, and I think that's important for people to understand as well.
Yeah. That's
Um
good.
so after that he was caught, he ran away, he escaped the scene, and he was caught by police a few I think a couple days later. And he had told the police that he was also planning on bombing a famous crossing in Tokyo.
So
And
we talk about the sociopath now. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
see,
The
and
psychopath even. Yeah.
and so it was like, but I liked how you brought to the attention. It's like something's happening at the point in time. You don't have the time to think about what's happening because it's already happening.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot, and you're going to see from a few of the other things that I want to talk to you about, how like the overthinking is prevalent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Because
um,
that happens nowadays in the Netherlands also. If I'm not interrupting you,
no, no, no,
you want
no,
to
no,
continue?
no, no, no.
What's happening in
Continue.
the Netherlands, in Netherlands and in the UK, for example, there's a lot of young children,
Hmm.
16 year of age. They have blades now. They carry knives, like even big machetes. It's incredible the increase of young kids having a knife.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do not have is the cognitive understanding yet, because their brain is still evolving, is still growing,
Mm-hmm.
and they have too much testosterone. They want to make a name for themselves. They lack brain capacity. So they do not overthink consequences of their actions. So now you have a chemical cocktail of a dumb fuck with, that's what it is, with fueled on testosterone,
Mm.
and he wants to make a name for himself. Now that's a level 10 threat for me.
Yeah.
So because of that, he is good in violence. He will not overthink. He would stab a hole in you so he can say to his friend, you know what I did?
Mm.
And then afterwards, he will be in a pool of shit. And then probably the rest of his life, he will be affected by it. But at that moment, he is such a liability because he has not the brain capacity to understand. So
Mm.
I'm teaching my student, if even a young child carries a knife, try to run, of course. If you cannot do this, hit him as fucking hard as you can. That's a level 10 threat. I will not hold back if a child with a knife stands in front of me. I will knock him out as hard as I can. I don't care that it's a child. That's my sociopath coming out. But understand the chemical cocktail there.
Mm.
You know, they don't overthink. And when I'm teaching smart people, and I actually teach a lot of smart people because they want to understand violence, and then I show them footage, and they always, when I stop the video and I tell them, listen, that's a pretet cue, I personally would hit that individual right now, and then they look at me like, yeah, no, 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 but I would do no, no, because there's no, and they're still doubting, and they try to use their smart thinking, and then I
Mhm.
stop them and say, you're intelligent, but there is no time for intelligence because you go from cortex to limbic system, and now caveman needs to come out,
Mhm.
and that always shows them that they are always too late. They will always be on the reactive end if they do this.
Mhm.
So if you want to deal with violence effectively, you have to have the capacity to go to caveman if there is no other way, of course. And that's
Mm.
difficult because
Yeah.
smart people, they're smart for a reason, but 9 out of 10 times they need to understand um, that there's a lack of time. React fast, or you're going to be victim. That's the
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
And I think it's like what was it? I had something. Um you brought this up in one of your videos. Um Lee Morrison brought this up in one of his in a number of his videos.
He's the best.
Um yeah, he's awesome. I really want to meet him one day. If I can get out to the UK and train with him, that would be awesome.
I will hook you up.
Sweet.
Yeah, 100%. He's
Um
such a, he's my second father, man. He's such a good man, but such a knowledgeable man. Really.
and like the thing is he's so well spoken.
Hmm.
He is eloquent with his words.
And and he becomes more like this. The older he gets,
Hmm.
the more he's evolving. Because I'm hanging around with him for some years now,
Mm,
and every year I see him doing the physical stuff less because he has his instructors for that.
mm.
He's going to use it, and he's still abusing us. Don't get me wrong. We're still getting beat up all the time,
Still
but
experimenting.
yeah, he's still using us as meat puppets. But every time when I'm next to a lecture of him, his psychology, then I always really, and I tell him, I say, it's incredible that even you evolve every year. He becomes better, deeper, and
Mm,
he was never shit. He was always good, but it becomes on top, and it's really great to see. Everybody's
ever
evolving.
evolving, ever
Yeah,
evolving.
ever, yeah.
And so like like I've also read it on this particular thing a number of times, and it's from Miyamoto Musashi,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
will
a
look.
it's acting on the pre-threat cues. So there's three preemptions.
Yeah, I teach them in every seminar. I have a seminar coming up in Stuttgart. Do the same. I will use that. So can I explain the
Yes,
three preemptions?
please. Yes.
Okay. So the three preemptions of Musashi means, let's say you're in a conflict, yes, and there is a necessity for you to become physical. If you could avoid, you would avoid. If you can escape, you would escape. If you can de-escalate and push and run, etc. Yes, so you have to become physical. There is a time frame
Mhm.
from 0 to 10, and 10 he is attacking you.
Mm,
Yes. So if you want to be the quickest, the best preemption, and preemption means be the first with action, could be you attack him before he thinks about anything.
mhm.
Understand what I'm telling you? So he's in range, you see it already, there's intention on his face, and you hit him. And now you maybe that's enough. Yes?
Yeah.
So that you can hit him before he thinks about anything.
Mhm.
But that's in general kind of difficult to live your life like that. I
And
mean,
you
you
can say he's a
yeah,
threat. He's a
oh.
threat.
So I found out when I was doing door work before the COVID, and
Mhm.
we did so much free festivals. There was so much violence going on because a paid festival, people want to go there and they pay for a ticket. They want to be there. They take drugs. They're happy.
Mhm.
Then all of the time there is some violence, but 9 out of 10 times you bring people to the first aid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the free events, when the income from the festivities come from alcohol consumption, and people, all ass wipes can come in, then they are fighting on that event. So
Mhm.
for me and my team, or my team and me, I have to say, there was we went in and escorted them out.
Mhm.
So there was test day, the whole day fighting.
Test day.
Yes, yeah, it was great, really serious. But if you have a good group of people, you want to get the negative elements out, and then
Mhm.
still reasonable and necessary, of course. But sometimes it escalated in true self-preservation, and you need to hit people, and knock them out.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, I became a little bit too sensitized that I was almost like that. Uh,
Ah.
you, you give me this boom, and that
Yeah.
is because of summer after summer after summer. And then I found myself at one point, I'm like, no, this is not the right path. In
Mm-hmm.
the events, we get code red, it means fighting. But then I did, besides this, I was working the doors. And then it comes down to communication,
Yeah.
de-escalation, etc. And then I noticed by myself that I took that mindset from the intervention team member to the door. And I
Mm-hmm.
became too clinical. And I said to myself, no, stop doing that. That's not what I'm doing. So now I changed my mind and change my mindset, I have to say. And I try to communicate and de-escalate before I had to strike.
Mm-hmm.
That was my challenge, to because everybody can fight at one point.
Yeah.
But to deal with the adrenaline and the build-up, etc. So the best and the safest thing you can do is hit him first before he thinks about anything. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then the second preemption is, and now time frame is becoming smaller when he thinks about it. And how I teach this with my students is I let them stand in front of each other. One is holding a pad, and the other one is waiting, standing in the fence position. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
protect the hands, hands are up. And from this platform, he's going to hit the pad. But what I'm doing and teaching them is that the pad holder, he needs to think happy thoughts in the beginning of the drill. So
Mm-hmm.
literally, I'm asking them to have an honest relationship and honest pad feed. Yes, it's difficult to screw with this drill, but I'm assuming they're both honest.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I'm holding the pads, I'm literally thinking about flowers, puppy dogs.
Yeah. Yep. I thought that. I thought that. Okay.
Yeah, booty, all that stuff that makes you
Makes you happy.
yeah, happy shit. Yeah. And you try not to smile, but you try to think about it and try to hide that intention too.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I say blow the whistle and the drill starts, you think happy. Then you decide, can be 10 seconds, can be 20 seconds, can be 40 seconds, doesn't matter. You go from happy thoughts to really dark. And then I
Mm.
explain my students, I will do if you come into my house and want to hurt my loved ones, I will stab 20 times your neck. That's what I'm doing. And I'm literally in my brain thinking how that I'm opening you up. It's dark, it's grim.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to understand that I go from happy to dark.
Ah, I saw the switch.
Yeah, now I exaggerated it a little bit, but what
Mm.
I'm telling them to do is first recognize when you go from happy to dark thoughts. And
Mm-hmm.
now you need to hit him. So where do you have to look for? And I ask my student that holds the pad to really try to hide that. So now I did from
Yeah.
happy to, but then if you really want to hide it, it's something in the lines of,
Ah.
you see, you see
Yeah.
always something, eyes become darker, shaking of the nostril, shaking of the lip. Maybe what I found out, one of my brothers that I fight with on the door all the time, he says that I am tilting my head a little bit when I
Mm.
start with violence, and I didn't know that. But one time I had a conflict with a guy, and I tried to de-escalate, and there was something wrong, and he went to his pocket, and I told him not to do, and then he went out of his pocket. And then there was still another need for an escalation in my book because he had bad intention and he was raising his voice. So at one point I did this, and then my colleague rushed in, and then I dealt with him. And then I said to my colleague, "Hey man, thanks for covering me. You were quick." And he said, "Yeah, I was looking at you from a couple of meters distance, and I saw your head doing this." I'm like, and I knew already what time it was. I'm like, "Really?"
So he
And
noticed
then
your your
yeah,
pre-threat cue.
yeah, because I work with him for already for a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
he's one of my best friends. And don't think it's a guy like me, like kind of athletic, but he is like 50. And if you see him, you would underestimate him,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, or see him
Maybe.
as an old individual or something. But he has the mindset of a lion. And man, we had so many fights together. His name is
Mm-hmm.
Better, and yeah, I will always choose him to protect my back.
Mm-hmm.
But he recognized, and what I found out some years later is that I had a seminar. No, Lee had a seminar, and I was his instructor to help, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to show a demo in a scenario,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in this French dude, and he was smashing the table, And I do the same. At one point, I'm doing this, and now I attack him. While I know it's a scenario or it is a simulation, even. So we have to give the example to the public, and then they are going to train that. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw that there was a proof for me that your subconscious brain doesn't know the difference between real violence or simulated violence because I did
Mm-hmm.
it, and now I attacked
Mm.
him, and then my cue started. So I recognize this for myself. But if you can recognize when somebody is squeezing the eyes, tilting the head, shaking nostril, lip, uh, the small details, how useful is that? Now
Very
you know,
useful.
yeah, he thinks about something, and now you hit him first.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when you train this like this, it's just a start because there's so much more. And in
Mm-hmm.
real life, you have to deal with his aggressive dialogue. You have to deal with your buildup of adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very difficult. But if you can stay cognitive in this dynamic, and you could see that small, subtle signs,
Mm-hmm.
you attack him now, you just was quicker than him.
Yeah.
Then the third part comes in from the three preemption, and that is when he gives you a macro cue. We just spoke about micro cues,
Yeah.
little details,
Mm-hmm.
and the next step is going to be the macro cue. So you have to understand that from hitting him first, going to micro cues and macro cues, that your time span is going like this.
Getting
You have
smaller and smaller. Yeah.
yes, it goes very fast before he attacks you. So if you can hit him when you see a macro cue, this is your last chance. And a macro cue can be shifting body weight. Maybe he's clenching his fist.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he looks around. What is he looking for? CCTV, friends, witnesses, etc. You know, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe he's touching this. Is what we call grooming. He's without him knowing he is hiding his intentions. You know, that stuff I understood very well when you work on the door.
Mm.
That's the stuff you always see and look around. Then they come the sucker punch and stuff like this. That are your macro cues. The popping elbow. If he's reaching for something, let's say he has a knife or a weapon, he needs to grab it, and then you see this elbow popping out. This is what
Mm-hmm.
we call the popping elbow. It's all macro cues. Shifting body weight, of course. If he wants to hit you, this can be really subtle, or this can be very explosive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because what we do, we keep the hands up and we talk from a fence position, and my feet are already bladed. From this
Mm-hmm.
position, I can generate impact. I don't have to explain you
Yeah.
because you kudo artist. Okay? you know how to fight. So you know that the best power comes from the leg, and that you have to have a good balance and a good foundation. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot hit very hard if you are flat-footed.
Yeah. Yeah. In a square, too square of a stance. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you go from hitting him before he thinks about anything
Mm-hmm.
to when he thinks about it, understand micro cues until he's giving you a bigger signal, a macro cue.
Mm-hmm.
That are the preemptions of Musashi. Yeah.
Okay. And so, but like, I think a lot of people don't realize that for you to be able to notice those micro cues, you have to be paying attention. You have to be alert and watching what
Yes.
that individual is doing, right?
Yeah, and that's also very, very difficult because one of the few encounters I had on my door in the beginning of my door work, I was it was a summer festivity, and then
Mm-hmm.
after 12 o'clock, I have to ask them to go inside. And at the time, they were still using glass. And there was a specific individual that was known as somebody who was glassing bouncers. That was his
Ah.
name. It was not official his name, but people always gossiped about it. And one way or the other, it was stuck in my head. And he had a really ugly, intimidating face. Big
Mm-hmm.
gold necklace, bald head, mean looking face. And then I asked him politely because we had to have all the people inside because of license. I asked
Mm-hmm.
him, can you go inside? And he was one of the last.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started an argument, really on a, there was no need for him to be passive aggressive. I didn't understand. So I was still busy processing. Why is he like this? I'm just asking him a polite question. It was
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of my door days.
Mm-hmm.
And his face was intimidating. He had a glass in his hand. So I look at his face, look at the glass, look at his face, look at his glass. And I feel, now I know, the adrenaline taking over.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? I had this shaking extremities. My hands and feet were shaking. My
Mm-hmm.
body was preparing for fight and flight because I was just busy with, I don't want to end up with a glass in my neck and my carotid artery opens up.
Yeah.
And this fucker was known by it. So this inner dialogue in my brain was killing me
Mm.
until the point that I had a dry mouth. And the dry mouth is because your body is in fight or flight response, is preparing to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
for example, that's why I have shaking extremities. Your bigger muscles, they ask for all the blood.
Mm.
So now you can push and pull harder. You're more resilient to pain. You're faster, etc. But I
Mm.
didn't know that at the time. So it's handy to understand what adrenaline does with you, so you can understand. And now, instead of thinking why I'm such a pussy, why I'm shaking, you can also say to yourself now, now I can push harder, pull harder. It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
What happens also, my mouth dried out because the digestion of food starts with your saliva, with your
Mm.
spit. And your body thinks, fuck no, I don't want to eat. I'm fighting or flighting. So
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. That's why you get the dry mouth. Because his face was intimidating me with the glass. And then his girlfriend, she came out of the door because she was already inside and she saw there was still discussion going. And then she grabbed me by the hand and she says, and she looked at me and she saw my dry mouth. I was so shocked that she saw it, and she was thinking that it was drugs because they both love drugs.
Mm.
And they said to me like, "What the fuck you use drugs for, blah, blah? Are you full of cocaine, blah blah?" And then I snapped. I grabbed her and I threw her out because she was really aggressive, screaming in my face, but also because she got me. She understood.
She read
And
the
then,
signals.
yeah, she read the signal. She only saw a dry mouth. And then I slapped the glass out of his hand and I smack him in the face, hit him. It's not professional. I'm just explaining what happened. So if people judge me, I don't care, man. Just do the work, and you will find out.
Mm-hmm.
So I slapped him, low kicked him. She attacked me with a plastic chair. I covered that, and I pushed her against a wall. Nothing happened with her, but I had to push her. Then I both removed them of the area of the establishment. And he said, "I will kill you," and I was ready for it, because at that point I switched on my aggression. And that was also the moment that I understood, when I switch on that aggression, the horrible feeling of buildup of adrenaline is gone. So I felt relieved. I was like, oh, yes,
Mm.
I don't have to deal with that shit anymore. Because nobody is fearful when angry. You can only be in one emotional state at a time. This is for me the moment I always pick out to. I'm writing a book at the moment. It takes probably 100 years. But I use this as for me an eye opener that, that's why aggression is good. You switch it
Mm.
on. Only mistake I made at the time is that my aggression was almost red mist and I didn't have it under control. So when I
Mm-hmm.
went inside, I was cooled down again. I understood, shit, I need to regulate this. Now I can do this very well,
Mm-hmm.
like clinical. But I understood that aggression was now making me use the build-up adrenaline as an energy resource. Again, you can only be in one emotional state at a time. And why do I tell this story? Because his face was intimidating me. So what I'm also teaching my students is to have and Lee is teaching this also, of course, I know this from him, a good tip, that you focus on the throat, a soft focus on the throat, because now you can see the shoulders move if he is reaching for something or making a motion or a body shift or grabbing something, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't let the face intimidate you. It's
Uh,
very, very, very difficult to do. And also, if you talk with somebody and he is changing his sentences, they become shorter. We
mm.
call it becoming monosyllabic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so what? And that's a signal that you don't have to look at him for, but you understand, shit, his cognitive part of the brain, the frontal part of this brain that we can make tactical decisions in, is closing down and his limbic takes over. So be careful. I don't have to look at you. I only have to listen to you and focus on the throat and see what you are doing, because the hands are hurting me, not the face.
Mm.
Yes, to do this. But that's it. That's why I said, when I'm talking about the micro cues, if you want to know and understand, then you have first need first the ability to stay cognitive in this really difficult dynamic. It's very
Mm.
different to do it on a static pad drill. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Then if there's real role play with you, with the potential risk of you getting hurt badly.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? So it needs a lot of training and good role play in your training, because now you install something on your survival stress response.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And so there is a number of different things that go into the preparation and the usages of pre-threat cues, recognizing pre-threat cues, and being able to efficiently act upon those things, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
What you have to block is doubt in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
If you think somebody's, for example, I worked the doors, and in a specific in the same area, I have to say. And what happened? This guy was in a different situation. This guy was, for 10 minutes, he was calling me names, blah blah blah, and because he could not enter, he was under the influence of substances. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was a combination of alcohol and drugs. And I refused to let him in, and I was fine with it. And you can insult me all day. If you insult my mother, I don't care, man. She's probably not your type. She's, you know what I mean. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If, you know, it's yeah. That's you. I don't care how you call me. It's fine. But what he did, at one point, he started to reach, and he was still in conversation range. So I told him, stop reaching, and he still did it. So bam, then I slapped him. Then he went down, and my colleague said, and he's out. And then we went inside.
Mm-hmm.
After 5 minutes, my hand was still glowing. He was still laying on the floor. And I was like, fuck. Because I didn't control his descent, but he landed on the shoulder, but still I was like, and then at one point there was movement. I was like, okay, then I step aside. Then I saw him taking his phone, and he was busy with the phone. And after a minute, he was turning the phone.
It was upside down.
He had it upside down.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible. But what was next to him was a package of cigarettes, not the package, but the tobacco,
Mm-hmm.
like the pouch of tobacco. It was in his back pocket, but I cannot wait for confirmation. Is
Yeah.
it a knife? Is it a cigarette? Is it a lighter? I don't care, man. If you reach for it and I warn you, I will knock you out.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to be like this
Yeah.
because otherwise I'm doubting. So you need to think like a predator. Only
Mm-hmm.
busy what you're doing with him, and that means also that you block doubt. Sometimes you make the wrong decision. Yeah, so be it. Then I hate you for nothing. Yeah, sorry, man. Want a beer? You see, it's I
Mm.
I, I didn't
Yeah.
start that conflict in the
Mm-hmm.
first place because I do not fight for ego, and if I can avoid, I would avoid. But it doesn't apply when I work the doors, is it? I cannot avoid that. Then I should find another job.
Yeah. And so it was really important for you to bypass any question, because the moment you start questioning, is that a knife? And it is a knife. You've already lost the time you need.
Yes, is this a knife? And now you can go. You're fucked. That's what
You're
it
dead.
is.
Yeah.
That is what the definition of mindset is. Eh? It's the willingness to do whatever it takes to win,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means you need to hurt somebody, and accept the fact that you can get hurt. It's the
Mm-hmm.
combative mentality to deal with the combative problem. So I also don't allow negative thinking like, yeah, I don't want injury. Maybe I break my hand. Maybe, you see, I refuse to think like this. So don't think about your injury. Only think what you're going to do with him. I'm only busy with one more step, and I am hitting him. I'm not even thinking I'm hitting with a left, with a slap. One time a left slap came out. Last interview, I told you the same, but it's lost already, the footage. But the left slap came out, and I'm right-handed. And I have proof on my phone. I can show you. And I had a perfect blue spot on this left hand. I was proud of myself because this is where you hit with the palm.
Oh, right here.
Perfect. Yeah, I still have it. So proof is there. Also, I always have proof of if I say something. But I was surprised for me that the left slap came out. I don't know. I'm right-handed. I'm training that stuff, but still, I would expect right-handed maybe. But I said to myself, if he does one more step, because I'm using the fence, I step back, I try to de-escalate, I step back again, and you see him coming forward. Now I hit him. Yeah. How much more information do you need? But the fact that this came out was for me also a way that, and an understanding that I was only thinking predatory. One step and I'm hitting him. Because if you start thinking, what should I do? Left, hook? No, that's not, that, then you lost the predatory part. Understand?
It's too much. So just hit.
Shit, man, you get so much good information for free, man. It's unbelievable.
So much. Man. All right, so there was that conversation, that particular situation. Since you brought up kids and knives, I'm going to actually switch over to this one. There's two situation with kids and knives. The one situation, I'm going to tell you both. So the one situation is stabbing at a junior high school. Um, it was between two junior high school students, probably a first year and a second year student. Um, the student that stabbed the assailant held a grudge against the other student that he stabbed. Maybe he was being bullied. Maybe he stole his girlfriend. I don't know. But what happened? One student felt a certain way about another student, brought a knife to school. They had an argument, and he stabbed. Like the student saw the other student pull the knife, and then got stabbed.
He
So
already
that
had it in the hand.
he had it in his hand. So he pulled it out, had it in his hand, and he stabbed him. So there's that one. Another one, a high school student stabs 3 people at a prestigious university in Japan. 2 of the 3 were students attending the examination to get into university. The other one was an elderly gentleman. The student was not there to take the exam. His whole purpose there was not to take the exam, but to inflict harm on other people. According to investigations, the student was frustrated with his studies and decided to do other people harm and for himself to die. He slashed people's backs with about a 12-centimeter blade. All right, so there's those. Oh, and the junior high school stabbing was a kitchen knife.
Yeah, the kitchen knife, that is, in my book, a different approach, because that is just big, and he wants to intimidate. He wants to show him, and maybe emotion took over. Now he stabs, because what happens a lot of times and that's 2 people having ego. One shows the knife, and he hopes that it's in like the movies, that if you show the knife, everybody backs up. But what happens 9 out of 10 times, especially with young kids that don't understand the same topic, they don't understand consequences, is that they're like, yeah, fuck you and your knife. Yeah, what the fuck you want to do then? And now I will never pull a knife. I always have a knife on me, but weapons are meant to be felt, not to be seen, right? So in the case of this is a small fruit knife, right? You cannot see it when I'm holding it like this in my hand. If I really have the intent to use this, it's not very intimidating, is it?
No.
No.
Well, a knife is intimidating either way it goes for me. I see a knife, that's dangerous.
100%. Yeah. That's a fact. Yes, that's a fact. And who also understand that very well is Peter Robbins. He had a strategy. It's a STAP program: strategy, tactics against blades. Strategy and tactics against blades. That's official name.
Strategy and tactics.
STAP program. STAP. Strategy, tactics against blades. And it's literally what we use. And we use his 3 E's. I will talk about it more. But every knife, and he talks about every knife is intimidating, because we know what it does.
Yeah.
We use it, it's fucking sharp, you can imagine. It's also intimidating because it's a tool that you use from close range. Yes. And one of the biggest fears that is installed our human brain is that you have to deal with the interpersonal aggression of another human being, especially when it's in your fucking face.
Yeah.
And it's a different mentality if you are a sniper and you shoot a hole in somebody's head. I'm not telling you that's easy. I'm just telling you that's simpler and different mindset than shooting with a gun. Or the next step in my book is having a knife that you need to employ from close range and that will cut through your bones and tendons. It's different, is it? It's a different mindset. That's why somebody is using the knife. It's always fueled by rage. It's always 40, 50 stabs. You know, it goes wrong. And it's almost never one stab. Look it up. It's always more steps because it goes in rage. That's a totally different mindset. But the first situation you describe in my book is an intimidation factor. That's what you see with the young children, especially in the Netherlands and in the UK. They want as big and as mean looking as they can. Rambo knives, machetes with carves in it. It's almost like a zombie sword. I'm not kidding.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because that's scary. And I still remember one out of my childhood. I was around 14, and I had a fight with a big dude and it was a smaller dude. And I always had a conflict with the bigger individual. was
Mm.
way heavier than me. But in my book, he was just, I don't know, he wasn't a hard target. He acted like, and he always bullied on me, and I beat him up twice. But in this
Mm.
specific event, he had a younger friend with him, and he was skinny.
Mm.
And at one point, I was fighting with him. I was giving him the spinning kicks. I was still thinking I was Van Damme at the time, but I did
Mm.
all that stupid shit. And then his friend came to me with intent on his face, and he had a standing knife. I saw that, and I never I run away so hard because
Mm.
it was his intent afterward. I was thinking about it. What was the difference? But he was ready to slice me open with that box cutter or the standing knife, and
Mm.
I understood that very well. So I run like fuck. That's what I did.
Yeah.
But his intent was totally different. I would think if you give the big knife, a bigger knife to the big guy I had a problem with, but I know that he has not no bad intent, that would be a different outcome. And in this
Mm.
situation, this intent doesn't matter. But point is, the blade is not the risk. If I put this on the table here, it will not hurt anybody. It's
Mm.
the intent that drives the knife that is so scary. That
It's a
somebody
tool to
wants
be
to hurt.
used.
Yes, and that's why it's ridiculous if governments say hand in all the knives in the UK, and even the Netherlands starts now, they get away the point of the knife, they make it more blunt. I'm like, really?
That's
Look at
frightening.
this. It doesn't matter. That's ridiculous because
Hmm.
in prison they make a knife from a toothbrush. You know what I mean? They
Shivs, yeah.
yes, shanks and shifts. It's all what it is. It's the intent, and that's why we say we do not disarm the weapon. We knock you the fuck out because now we unplug the computer. We take your
Intent.
intent away. Yes, exactly. So the first case, yes, is probably intimidation went wrong, or
Mm.
maybe his ego and testosterone took over. And
Hmm.
then the other guy with the yeah, it's 12 centimeters. You
Yeah,
said
12
what is it?
centimeters. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
not
like
really big.
like this big.
Yeah, yeah. So what does it tell? His intent
Mm.
was driven by the tool. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter what you have. I can kill you with a pen. You know, it's not Jason Bourne shit. If you just want it and step hard enough,
It's going to
everything can
penetrate.
make it go.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a different intent there, if you ask me.
Yeah. Okay. And then I have one more situation. Now this one is a fire. Actually, no, I have another stabbing, and then I have a fire. Two fires. So this other stabbing happened. Where is it? On a train. I may have brought this one up to you before. This happened on Halloween last year, where a guy dressed up as
Michael
the Joker.
Myers?
No, he dressed up as the Joker,
Oh, not Michael Myers.
not Michael Myers.
Yeah, that would be Halloween. Really cool setup.
That would have been cool. A little tragic, but kind of cool.
A little tragic, yeah.
um, so a guy he dresses up as the Joker, and he boards a train. Um, and he boards the train with the complete intent to cause bodily harm to as many people as he can.
Yeah,
Because in so from what they said in the interview, he was ready to do harm because he wanted to die.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he stabbed multiple people. Some on the train. The train there was it couldn't go anywhere else. It was traveling from one train station to another train station. So in transit is when he started. They
Ooh.
can't run.
So now you need to deal with your that is scary. I mean, now you have a, a killer with the mindset and the intent,
Mm-hmm.
with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot escape because what we normally use is it comes from Peter Robbins, the same that has the STAP program.
Okay.
The three E's are the first E stands for escape.
Mm-hmm.
You can escape, you fucking should escape when
Yeah.
there's a knife. Also with multiples, but when the threat is high, you need to escape. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot escape, then the second E comes in. That's equalize. You need to find an equalizer. What can I use as a shield? Can I use my back as a shield? Or can I maybe use a trash can as a projectile or to protect yourself? Is there
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you can use as a weapon? Maybe you can break off a railing in it was a train?
It was a train.
In the train. Maybe I can use a railing as a impact weapon. All that stuff. You know, if you can have an equalizer, you should bring the disparity up, because he has a
Mm-hmm.
blade, you don't have anything. So arm up, yes,
Yeah.
or have something you can protect with.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third E is you eliminate the threat. So you
Mm.
cannot escape in this situation. You better find an equalizer so you can eliminate the threat. So, example, I explained you in one of the first podcast is I had the guy putting a knife on me, and there
You
was a
broke
broomstick.
the broomstick.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
I broke the broomstick, and I just knocked him out cold. At 6, 7 blows, and I still have the stick. And I showed you, it's
Yeah.
still my reminder of an equalizer. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and um, then maybe you have a chance in bar scenario. You could have a bar stool, door work. What we use bicycle, standing bicycle as a shield, or you grab a bicycle or
Mm-hmm.
bike, you throw it against them as a projectile, and then you go forward to attack, stuff like this. You can
Mm-hmm.
literally use everything, or your mother-in-law as a shield, and then you push her
If you
against
don't like your mother-in-law.
them.
Sorry,
But
mom.
then you need to eliminate the threat. So
Yeah.
if you want to deal with an individual in the train like that,
Mm-hmm.
shut off his computer. So one of the things that happened in it was also a train, I guess, or the metro train. I think it's the train in Utrecht. It's a couple of years ago. It's a city in the Netherlands, and there was this active shooter. He
Mm-hmm.
was shooting in the train, and
Wow.
then one guy who survived, and he was killing actually a lot of innocent people. And
Mm-hmm.
then one Dutch guy says, "Yeah, I was sitting in the corner. He didn't see me, and I saw him from the back, and I saw the gun waving." I'm like, man, if that individual was trained and could switch on the mindset and had a weapon, for example, and understood how to destroy him, he could now attack him from the back and eliminate the threat. But
Mm-hmm.
that's very easily said and done. But it
Mm-hmm.
shows the victim mentality. Because the guy who was shooting with the gun, he had tunnel vision, I promise you, because he was also full of adrenaline while he was killing.
Mm-hmm.
So then he misses totally what's happening in the
In the
back.
peripheral, yeah.
Yeah. So if I had the knife and I could smash it in and then rip the arm open, so this is not functioning anymore, so he cannot pull the trigger, and now I'm stabbing in the neck. Now I have a chance at attacking, even with a small blade like this. So
Yeah.
what does this tell you? That my mindset in intent can destroy another human being,
Yes.
even gun against a knife. That's why they have the 21 feet rule. You know about that?
Yeah, we talked about this in the previous video.
Yeah, same story. You need 21 feet to grab the gun and shoot. If I come forward with 100%,
Intent.
then it's Dennis Tudor's drill. Yes, the police officer Dennis Tudor.
Yes.
And then you need like around 7 meters, because we were different.
Yeah, we use meters here in Japan too. I've switched
Yeah,
over.
yeah. But then you see how difficult it is. If somebody switch on the intent that comes forward, man, it's fucking difficult.
Because adrenaline, you're afraid. You're like, oh, fuck, crap. Why isn't my gun coming out?
Yeah. And I'm always surprised that when somebody has a blade already in hand, and then I see police officers on the news, or I saw it one time for real when I was working the doors, and they are still having a discussion with this dude. And then, be careful, I'm like, dude, you're already dead if you want. Then when you switch on that computer, you're too late with shooting.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we
so
finish
there
this?
was
Yeah. We finished this whole because sometimes we drift away from the topic. Oh,
so
with the guy. Yeah,
with the guy with the knife on the train, right? So so you pretty much touched on some good points, like escape if you can, but since they were many of the passengers on the train were able to escape because since the train was in transit between two stations, once it reached the other station, they all escaped out of windows and doors. They got out.
Yeah, but listen to that, huh? That is also when you work with active shooters. Everybody is in escape mode. Nobody is fair. Everybody is like, fuck, I need to go. I understand that part, because if you can escape, you would escape. It's the best solution.
Yeah.
But let's say that train was still in transit and they could not get out, because I think it's, if the thing is driving, if you jump out, I mean, that's not very good for you, is it?
Either you're gonna die or you're gonna die. There's no two good options for you.
No, but there is a third option then, because if everybody would switch on the same intent and go to him and the attacker, he's fucked in no time.
Yeah.
Then everybody, exactly. But everybody is in sheep mode,
Mm-hmm.
while everybody should be in predatory mode.
Mm.
Now, this guy can maybe step 1 or 2, and now he get crushed like an ant if
Mm.
everybody has the same intent. You see that intent is the driving
Yeah, it
force in
is.
this?
It's the
Yeah.
driving factor between all of the things. And so I'm really glad that you brought that up. Because then it allows me to go into is everything all right at work, by the way?
Yeah, yeah, I still go to school. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
see
I still
you
have contact. And yeah, yeah.
you're like you're checking your surroundings, and I see that all the
I'm
time.
always doing that. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right. So there was last year there was a fire. So this is like a fire attack, act of violence, a building in downtown Osaka. So a guy walks into this clinic on the fourth floor of a building. He walks in with oil or petrol, enters a clinic. This clinic has around 27 or more people. He enters into the clinic, closes the door, spills the oil or the petrol all around the clinic, and proceeds to set the clinic on fire with 27 people or more.
Yeah.
All watching this man do it. Now it's unfortunate that many of them died, except for the perpetrator. The assailant was able to escape with injury, but he got out.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So it is tragic that this happened, but this also kind of goes back to what you said about if the escape or the sheep mentality can be changed in the predatory,
Yeah.
sheer numbers would have eliminated the threat way before he became one, an active
Exactly.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. But the problem is that people nowadays are so in denial because they are not capable of violence. They don't understand violence. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And um, Jordan Peterson has a really cool quote about this, like dangerous men understand how to inflict violence, but they control it very well,
Mm.
because otherwise you just have a harmless man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people they act like they understand what violence is. I think I'm pretty capable at it, but I also do it for the right reasons.
Mm.
I
Mm.
promise you, if you come into my work or my private life, that I am capable of violence, but that's for the right reasons. Understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
But the people there, I think they have difficulty to understand what is just happening.
Mm.
They don't understand that somebody can do that. I mean, how much more information do you need if some guy is pouring a liquid and now he has to take a lighter and put it on?
Yeah.
So, and then the second thing is, if you understand what's happening and you can
Mm-hmm.
come out of that shock,
Yes.
do you now have the training to deal with an individual like that?
Mm-hmm.
I already know what I'm going to do with him right now. I'm always doing this rehearsal in my brain. What would
Mm-hmm.
I do if somebody was standing with a knife? I would do this, this, and this. In that case, I would directly give him a low kick, take his mobility, or do something else before the lighter comes out, or just knock him out. But I'm trained, and I try to train, and I'm not telling you that I know it all. I'm not telling you that I will do this, this, and this, and this. But
Yeah.
I use the rehearsal in my brain. If you
Mm-hmm.
never do this, and the first time shit like this happens, and of course you don't train that somebody comes in with a building and then it sets it on fire, but I think you need to use your fantasy. Sometimes I'm not daydreaming, but I'm always busy with what would I do if that this and this happened? What would I do
Mm-hmm.
if the shooter would come? I would hide behind that pole. I would attack it from this direction. I will run like this. I will go like this. It's just stupid mental games, but it prepares you for something.
Yeah.
Understand? And I would say prepare for the worst, but also install something on your hard disk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people lacking nowadays because they have no necessity to deal with violence until it happens and then they're victim.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah. I
It,
understand. I definitely
yeah,
understand. And
yeah.
it's like the thing that I heard coming a lot from a lot of Japanese people is that Japan is very safe.
That is the other side of the coin, right?
Yeah, it's like
It's
Japan is
safe. So
very safe. Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you're right, but that's the problem. And it's sometimes people react on my YouTube. They think they funny or something. They say, I thought Netherlands was very safe. And I'm like, so you're telling me I cannot teach people self-protection, and
Hmm.
you're telling me I didn't have had to use violence in my life.
Yeah.
You don't know where I am. You don't know what is my profession. You do not know anything. You just
Hmm.
behind your keyboard acting funny and act like I am the fake one in this situation because they think I just made it up or something. I'm like, it's
Hmm.
incredible how in denial people like this are. But
Yeah.
they have a point in, yeah, if you have a rough upbringing from a different country where there's a lot of violence, you have a different mentality, yes. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I cannot switch into that mentality because I saw my stuff. Understand?
Yeah.
So, yeah, in my book, if it's too safe, you create weak men. You know,
Ah, in times of war, strong men create time during times of war create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak
exactly.
men create bad times. Bad times
Yeah,
create war.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it is like this. Yes. So that's why I think it's good. They also say the other one. It's better to be
A warrior
a
and a
gardener.
gardener than a gardener in a
Warrior.
war.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, and I believe in that. I mean, then at least train for the level 10 threat because it can happen. You
Hmm.
know. And the problem is when people come in, especially the soft targets that come into my class, they already had a learning curve. They had
Mm.
a negative situation. They were beat up or worse.
Yeah.
And now they're coming to my training. But before that, I would never see them. Same with the ladies in my class. If they come to my class, bad shit happened already. So first I
Hmm.
need to deal with the trauma, and now I can build on them. You know, that's what it does. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, some people say to me, I don't need that training because uh, I never deal with violence. And then I tell
Yeah.
them, but you still buy a ticket from the lottery, right? And then they say, yeah, you never know.
The chance. There might be a
Like,
chance. There's always a
like
chance.
it's the same as driving a car, and then I'm not using a seatbelt because I'm not crashing it, or I never crash my car. That doesn't say that you will not crash your car, is it?
Yeah.
So that's the same logic explanation in my book. So yeah.
It's always weird. Like a couple years ago, a really good friend of mine asked me to do like a self defense like little workshop for him. Now mind you, this is a place filled with Japanese women and children.
Oh yeah, different ambience.
It's different ambience, and then so like I'm demonstrating stuff like using clinches, elbows, headbutts, kicks to the groin, kicks to the knees.
My man. Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I'm showing them these things, and they're watching me, and they're just like what, oh, this is so violent. It's like, when are we ever going to use this?
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
And it's unfortunate. Like, I don't know. I'm trying
Yeah,
really hard to do things here to kind of get people to understand that even though the place is safe, just like you said, a safe place can still have dangers. You can still
100%.
experience it, and
And
it's
I
difficult.
think because of this, people miss the danger, and that's even more dangerous if you like. If you don't see it happening and it's still
Hmm.
happening around you, you are a victim to. It's going to be how you say it. It's waiting to become a victim. Let's say it like this.
Ah, you're
Yeah,
just waiting. You're waiting to become a victim. Yeah, you're just waiting.
yeah. But also in my training, I have the same. I train people for the level 10 threat, but this training is out of their comfort zone. I push them out of the comfort zone, and we have some scenario and we have some role play. But even if they never ever need it,
Hmm.
you can also ask yourself, why don't you need it anymore? Because I have students coming in and they say, since I train with you, I never have a conflict anymore. In the beginning, 5 years ago, I was still picked out, and then I still had to fight almost every weekend, or somebody smashed me on my head, and now it doesn't happen anymore. And then I tell them, look at how you are now, how you present yourself, your body language profile, how you use your voice. You became more assertive with your voice and your body. You just set up boundaries. You look around more frequently. You have a better awareness. Uh, a predator sees this and he thinks like, no, he doesn't look like a soft target anymore. You
Hmm.
switched on. This guy has a strong body language profile. He is truly confident, not insecure, because that's also insecurity, but he's happy in his skin. That guy's capable. Let's find an easier victim. So
Yeah.
the training is also making you maybe a harder target without you knowing it.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, when you simulate the training. So I will still say, take your self-protection class with a good instructor. Just do it. It will give you so much more than you can imagine, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's the
completely
point. Yeah.
agree. And like on during like so during this like kind of combatives journey that I've kind of put myself on, I was reading something from who was it? Meditations on Violence,
On Rory Miller.
Rory Miller, where
Yeah.
he proposed a drill. He said, in your daily life, a few times out of the week, or like try to do this every day, where how would a predator find a target? Put yourself in the shoes of a predator and you try to find easy victims
Yes.
and try to look for them.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that a couple years ago, and I told my friend that I was practicing this, and he got a little worried about me.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but I always try to think like a predator.
Hmm.
And first of all, you have to understand how does the predator look at you? It's what we call with predatory optic. So there's 3 points that he is victim selecting you for. So first, he looks if you are alone.
Hmm.
If you are alone, you're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Everybody understands that. And the second part is, are you switched on or off? And what do I mean with that? Are you switched on or off, like in your phone? Because nowadays,
Headphones.
especially headphones on the phone, but switched off can also mean you just stare into the blanks and you're not there in your brain. You're occupied in your brain with something else. You know, some people, maybe they kick a can or a stone on the street. Same, they're not in the moment. That's also switched off.
Hmm.
If you have this, you now become easier a victim. And
Hmm.
then the third part is, do you show weakness? So what kind of weakness? It can literally be an injury,
Yeah.
or maybe a limp, or maybe emotional weakness. Maybe your body language profile feels depressed. Maybe you lost your relationship or your job, or you have a shit day. And because you never bump into a fight when you just had 8 hours of sleep, a good protein meal, you just
Hmm.
fitness is still pumping your arms, you feel great, and never
Never
happens.
a fight.
it's
Never a
it's
fight.
always, it's always when you're not ready for it, when you're a little bit sick, when you had a night shift, when you had a double shift, etc., when it's raining, you want to go home, it's always then.
Hmm.
So alone, switched on or off, or weakness. If you have that three, there's a big chance
Hmm.
predator will victim select you. Or if you are with a friend, you're both switched on, you look around and you don't show weakness, you have a strong body language profile, you use your voice correct, and I mean strong in a way like how you present yourself. You don't have to be
Confident.
buffed. Yeah,
Hmm.
confident, strong body language profile, awareness on point, understanding what you're seeing, so you have a pre-threat cue recognition.
Hmm.
That is what you want, exactly. So
Hmm.
it's good to think like a predator. 100%. I'm always busy. Every human being, I look and I see how I can destroy this human being. Always looking whether for the weak spots. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of dark, but it's a mental game I play in my head. I have issues, I guess, but
Nah, I think that I think it's some people that were attracted to the martial arts and then kind of started to transition already had a few screws loose to begin with.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, but don't underestimate the stuff that you do. This kudo, huh?
Yeah.
That is combative as it is. It
Mm.
is serious. It's still martial arty, but
Yeah.
still it is pretty hardcore. So
It's
you
fun and it
only
hurts.
yeah, you only have to make some small adaptations for the street because you need to fight again multiples and understand weapons very well. But
Hmm.
the majority, you become very efficient in combatives. I know for sure because I saw how you move and I saw how you fight. It's not easy, dude, what you're doing. So yeah, you have already, it's great. It's good to
Thank
see
you.
that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm still doing the research. I'm still trying to take out the things that aren't necessary. I'm still trying to rip things
Yeah,
out of the game.
that's exactly the point because you want to, Hicks law. Hicks law describes it. The time it takes for a person to make a decision, the more options you
Ah,
have, the
the
longer it
longer it
takes.
takes.
Yeah, I always use Netflix as an example. If you have Netflix 150 movies, how many times I watch through Netflix and say to myself, "Fuck it, I'm going to watch television. Too much choice." And if I had three titles, I would pick one. That's how it works, right?
Because
So
it's
that's
easy. It's
the
like
same.
this, or this.
Yeah, yeah, that's the same, and that's what Peter Robbins from the STAP program also came up with. He understood that he had 10 sessions for a block and 10 sessions for a kick, and that's too much. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
get this log jam problem in your brain. You start to think about solution, but you have too much on your hard disk, and now you're scanning and nothing comes out. You need one or two solid solutions that work under real stress, and this will come out almost instantly. That's what you want. That's better. If you have a compressed toolbox with gross motor skill, it has to be gross motor, because above the 145 beats per minute and the heart rate goes up when adrenaline hits your bloodstream, you end up with gross motor skill stuff only. So if it becomes too fine motor skilled and complex, like boxing combinations, then you need to drop it. So keep it gross motor, compressed toolbox, and all driven by mindset and attitude. Now you have a combative toolbox. Yes.
Yeah.
So you will end up with your headbutts, your elbows, your knees, your slaps, your palms, and that's almost it. Maybe some eye attack, eye blitz structure, and that's it. And with this, you have to find the connection.
Okay. Working.
Simple. If it's not, if you cannot install it in your student, the bigger picture in 10 minutes, drop it. So if you teach something and your student can do it when he is thinking about it, so then it's you teaching, you can use it in the parking lot, 10 minutes, then you have to overdo it again and again and again, so your student will do it without thinking. Yes, that's what you want. Yeah. All the other rest, if it takes too long for them to learn, drop it. Then it's not considered combative.
Okay. Man, thank you. We went through a lot of content. Yes. A lot of good information.
Long time already. 1 hour 20, I see.
And it was amazing. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but if we were to boil down everything we kind of talked about into concepts.
Yes.
What would those concepts be?
Get your mind right. So work on the mindset. That is always number one. Get a mindset that you're only busy what you're going to do with him, a predatory mindset. So I will show you something. Maybe it's kind of weird, but I will show you and I can teach you. You see this triangle?
Yes.
This is the vital pyramid. So this first block, I will explain, this first block says mindset. This is the vital pyramid from John Lofty Wiseman. Everybody can find this. And John Lofty Wiseman made this model of
Wiseman.
I don't know if maybe you can cut it out, but can I get some teaching model in, or is it difficult?
You probably might be able to.
Share screen, right?
Yeah, share screen.
Let's see if this will happen. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Hold on. Hold on, participants.
You need to cut this out, but then I can show you and then teach you the model.
I'll make you co-host.
Great.
All right. Maybe that should help.
Yeah, I think that helps. Wait. That's the one. Let's see what's happening when I push this. Share. You see something happening?
Not yet. Hold on. Let me go through settings. Got it. All right. I think this did it. All right. Try it again.
You see something now? Wait. Do you see my screen now? No, right?
I see you, but I don't see your screen. I have screen share is yeah, everything is no, not yet. Hold on.
Shit. No, right?
Nope, nothing yet.
Now I still see you. I cannot find the share button from the screen. I'm happy it's not live.
Oh yeah.
I hope when I click the share. Wait, get back talking.
The share button should be the little green button. There should be like
Yeah,
a
but I pushed it, but now I clicked on the and I cannot find a thing because I still see you because I'm smaller now. But I'm wait, I have to search for you. Wait, Zoom meeting. I'm back here. Oh, yeah. Wait. Stand them up. Ah, fuck. It's not working, dude.
then it's all right, no problem then.
Yeah, whatever. But I can teach it like this. Hopefully. So hopefully you can see it. See it?
Yeah, I see
So
it.
yeah, this is John Lofty Wiseman's vital pyramid, but I adapted it. So what is John Lofty Wiseman's vital pyramid? It's just normally a normal pyramid with one block mindset, one block tactics, and one block skills, and one block kit.
Okay.
So the foundation, like you see on this pyramid, is mindset. Yes. The foundation of every self-protection student should be the mindset. And what was mindset? The willingness to do whatever it takes to win, even if it means you need to hurt somebody and accept the fact that you can get hurt. To combative mentality, deal with the combative problem. So that should be your foundation. And above this mindset, this predatory mindset, is tactics. You need to employ good tactics. For example, how do you keep your hands up? You attack first. How you can avoid good, solid tactics in your game plan. If I would attack first, how would I do it, and how would I continue to attack until the threat's done, etc. That is your good combative training, if you like.
Okay.
Then the block above this is the block skills. What can you do with the tools that God gave you? How can you use your tools as a weapon? Your arms, your knees, your hands, your head, your teeth, everything together. Yes. And the least important one, that's what we call the cherry on the cake, is your kit. This is for a security officer, his portaphone. Can I ask for help, or can I use it as an impact weapon? Or my clothing, how is it cut resistant? How are my shoes? Can I run with it? Can I kick with it? Same for a civilian. Yes. Am I effective to run? Can I kick hard? Can I use my belt as a weapon? Is there weapons of opportunity? Kit can also be, maybe if legality allows it, that you carry a knife on you. Kit for a police officer is everything on his belt. For a soldier, it's also everything on him. His kit, his equipment, his knife, his rifle, his gun. Yeah, that's the kit. That's the cherry on the cake. But it should be driven by good tactics. But in the beginning, it should be driven by mindset, good tactics, skill set. So it's a cherry on the cake. 9 out of 10 times, the police officers in the Netherlands, they have it upside down. They don't have mindset. They have all the kit in the world. They don't have that creative tactics and skills, and they have just a small point here. What is kit? They have mindset. That is a mistake waiting to happen. Mindset is driving the tool, if you like. Yes. But I made an adaptation. This, because that's why I'm really regretting I cannot get the teaching model up, but it will be on my online platform coming this year. So then I'll present people the teaching models and explain them, etc. But what this is, you know, the movie Predator.
Yeah, I know the movie Predator. Yeah.
Otherwise, I would just end the conversation and
I would end my whole YouTube career if I didn't know who Predator was. So I'm done.
But the Predator has this special vision, right? And when he is victim selecting, you see this triangle, and then the laser on his shoulder shoots the head of his victim.
Yeah.
So this triangle is this triangle. So I simulate the predatory vision.
Ah.
So what I'm doing now is I put emphasis on the predatory mindset. I
Mm,
adapted the model. Understand? And in my
yeah.
teaching model, you see that this model, of course, and then you see the predator in the background to make them understand. So in my seminars, I teach this, that you want to have emphasis on the predatory mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Okay.
is the vital pyramid. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I think we have a lot of always good information from you. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm always really thankful that you also always take the time to appear. This is your third time
Yeah,
with me.
second time mistake, but
Second
it
time
did work.
mistake,
Yeah, yeah.
but
No,
it's
but
your third time.
yeah. No, but you're humble. You're a good dude, man. So if I can help you with anything, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate that you contacted me anyway. So it's great. I did another podcast recently. It was very well, also very nice. But in general, you see a lot of people. Uh, if it's longer than an hour, they're like, "Fuck this,"
Yeah.
and then when they take the time, they say, "Whoa, it's really good information." Yeah, it is. But that's why I'm not worrying to give it all away, because they don't.
They won't get past like 15.
So I start with this with the important stuff after 30 minutes or so. No,
Just
I'm
to
good.
make sure. It's like, oh, good. You've lasted. All right. Now here's the stuff that you
Yeah,
should know.
yeah,
Tactics.
yeah, exactly. No, but it's all good. Great, thanks.
All
Awesome.
right. All right. Well, I have to let you go because we've already been at it for about an hour and a half. Hour.
Yeah, impressive. Yeah,
Um,
impressive.
and so you have things to do, and I want to. I'll cut it now. So thank you very much for giving your time.
Yeah,
If
thank you for taking it. Thanks, man.
anyone, if you're watching, if you're more interested in learning more about urban combatives, then please find Michiel Mulder. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. I listen to
Um,
everything, but that's fine. That's great. Yeah. Lee calls me Michael, Michael, but you say it well. Officially, it's Michiel, but it's fine. Michiel Mulder, correct. Sounds good.
All right.
Urban Combatives Netherlands. Yes.
Check it
Thanks.
out. And he has great content, a lot of good stuff that you can do on your own. I've watched one of the recent ones where he was doing, you had the tires on the tree and
Oh
you
yeah, it
pulled
was
the
one of like the snatch motion.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm recovering from a surgery at the moment, so that's why I'm not putting out YouTube content. But it will start after this week. I will start filming again, and I'm also busy with my online platform, so stuff will come. But also YouTube will be active again. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes open for the online platform and then in the YouTube when you come back. And so I think that will be all for today. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome. Thank you.